Deputy Adams, thank you.
Taoiseach, yesterday I put it to you that citizens with disability do not have equality. It's my contention that this state has failed since its inception to provide services that would be afforded to every citizen if this was a real republic. And that gap has been filled by charities, and I want to praise the work that they do. But since the state's foundation, charities have not been regulated. And this is now doing untold damage, I'm sure you will agree, both to the charities and to those citizens who depend on them. And recent scandals such as the CRC and now the major question mark over fundraising of Rehab are causing enormous disquiet. Tá ag an phobal nach raibh rudder bí có dana leis an Sant agus sílan Gorientian tú leis an méid sin. In 2009, Fianna Fáil passed legislation to regulate the charity sector, but never implemented it. And in February 2012, my colleague Patrick McLaughlin asked Minister Shatter why the Act was not being implemented. And in his reply, Minister Shatter said, "It is not practical to proceed with the full implementation of the Act at this time, given the financial and staffing resources that would be required. Hence, the implementation of the Act has been deferred." And he went on to claim, "It is not a fact that the charities in Ireland are devoid of oversight." Now, we know that there is not enough oversight, and yesterday Sinn Féin tabled the bill which seeks to ensure that all the provisions of the 2009 Charities Act are fully enacted by the 31st of May this year, and the Government is opposing this. So I want to ask you to reconsider that position, and we welcome some of the steps being taken by Minister Shatter, but all provisions of this Act need and should be enacted. So, Taoiseach, will you support Sinn Féin's bill to implement all provisions of the Charities Act 2009, which has been sitting on the statute book for 5 years now, including 3 years of your term in government?
Thank you. Taoiseach.
We've had discussions and questions here over the last couple of years now about what's different. Let me say to you, Deputy Adams, that on coming into government, many of the political carpets that have been lifted, many of the financial carpets that have been lifted in the past period have been infested with maggots. Now, this government is in the business of clearing up a legacy of untold proportions. We're now into Section 38 and Section 39. And let me assure you and the House and the public out there that what's happening now in respect of the charities area is one that I believe will actually come through this to a much safer, more justifiable, more accountable, more transparent system, where everybody who donates to the charity of their choice will be comfortable in the knowledge that the accounts will be audited and published, that the regulator will have endorsed charity X or Y as measuring up to the criteria of the Act set out here. So what we want, Deputy Adams, is a system that all charities be treated the same, that they be transparent, that they be accountable, that the public be comfortable, and that the monies that they give from their hard-earned pay is going for what it was intended. I'm sure you support that too. And this process has started, and I commend the members of the Oireachtas committees who have been involved to this point and will obviously have a great deal of work up ahead of them. This is in everybody's interest. And Minister Shatter set out that the interim regulator will be in place by Easter, and the board will be set up, and that the HSE, and from a different perspective, is now following through on the Section 38 and Section 39. It is in the public's interest that all these things be cleared up. We've had a number of mountains to climb in the last 3 years, Deputy Adams, and unfortunately, as we move along, we discover that there's more and more work to be done in a number of areas. So in this case, regulator will be in position by the end of February, a board will be in operation, and we move to a point where the Section 38 and Section 39, and many of those charities, the charities that are being well run, the charities who have absolutely everything to put out in front of people, that's the way it should be for them all, and that's the way it will be.
Thank you. Deputy Adams. 1 minute. Thank you.
Well, not all the charities fall foul of whatever may be happening with some of them, but they all fall foul of the fact that there's a lack of public confidence because of the lack of regulation. And we know that it's a lack of regulation across many, many sectors, which is at the core of a very toxic culture in this state for a very, very long time. Now, I asked you a very straight question. There is a charities bill. It's there from 2009. The Minister's measures are welcome, but they don't include the full implementation of this charities bill. They're small piecemeal measures brought about because of the ongoing scandal. So my straight question to you is, support the bill which is now up for re-implementation, if I can use that term. I'm disappointed, because this is above party politics, I'm disappointed at your refusal to say that you would support the bill, because if fully implemented, it will protect charities. It will restore public confidence, and you do have, and I know you've been extremely busy,
Thank you.
but you've had 3 years in which to act on this. And I think last night's revelations by the Justice Minister about Rehab, information which he's had for some time, have shocked citizens and reinforced the urgent need to fully implement the Charities Act 2009.
Thank you.
So, just to conclude, John Corrigan, do you agree, Taoiseach, also, on top of all this other disquiet, that the refusal thus far by the CEO of Rehab to declare her salary and the general lack of transparency about remuneration where this exists in this sector and in other sectors needs to be rectified and needs to be addressed?
Thank you. Taoiseach.
I'm sure Deputy Adams is as interested as everybody else that transparency and accountability be had right across the board here in respect of all charities. I might say to you, as I said, the regulatory authority will be in place by Easter. Minister for Public Expenditure sanctioned the appointment of an interim CEO, and that position will be filled by the end of February. One of the early priorities, Deputy Adams, will be the publication of a statutory register of charities, so that people know what's involved here. That will obviously have its own implementation, really about transparency and accountability. The Charities Act, for your information, was enacted back in February 2009 by the previous administration, but no regulator was appointed. In fact, back when that bill was published in 2007, the then Minister Carey said, "The government is committed to protecting both charitable organisations and the public interest by reforming the law to ensure accountability and to protect against abuse of charitable status and fraud through the bill." That was a valid comment to make. But it was clear, following the appointment of the government here in 2011, that the full implementation of the 2009 Act was not possible given the financial circumstances that applied. I'm telling you the truth of the matter. So arrangements, Deputy Adams, for the implementation of the Act had to be examined in detail, and Minister Shatter has brought forward his proposals on how best to implement that. So clearly there was a consultation carried out between the Department of Justice and the public and the Charities Act in just last year.
Thank you.
The Minister published that report last July. So now we move on to the Section 38 and Section 39. We can't have a position where unsanctioned pay from the public purse is being paid in here, and we will rectify that. So in respect of all charities, they will all be subject to the same transparency and accountability. And I agree with you. So many people who give selflessly because of their belief and their dedication to charities, and the users of those charities and the services that they provide, they want this sorted out. And sorted out it will be, Deputy Adams.
Thank you.
I have to say, I paid a private visit to CRC just last week, and many of those young professionals were actually distraught at the nauseating spectacle that they saw. And for them and for the people who use the services and for those who contribute, we have to, in the public interest, clear all of this up. And the process that's now in train will see that that happens, Deputy Adams.
Thank you.